Hello, YouTube. Naked Trevor back again. This time covering the Acolyte. And we're on episode 3. And oh my goodness, what a bombardment of nonsense this episode was. Let's just get right into it. Watching the recap, why would Osha miss? She's firing a stun gun at her sister. So, I watched it again. I'm like, wait a minute. All it would have done is stopped her. So basically, if she intentionally misses when she's firing that stun gun at the end of the last episode, she wants her sister to go on murdering. Anyway, we're on the flashback episode. Now, the rumors around the internet was that this episode was going to be the worst of the bunch. I don't know. I bet it gets worse from here. But, it was pretty darn terrible. And I just can't stand flashback type storytelling. I'd rather the stories be presented as they happen as opposed to going back. And then this always, like with flashbacks, is this the flashback from Osha's point of view? Which I'm betting it is. So we're, cleverly omitting some of the things that we should be seeing. So anyway, 16 years earlier, the opens with the girls, shows them both using the Force on some alien butterfly creatures. May does it with a bit more intensity than Osha, and Osha asks her to stop. Why does she always do things like that? And then you just a moment before were using your Force to capture these little butterflies. She just did it longer or meaner, I guess, and it was wrong at that point. I don't know. And then May says, "Why do you always run off alone?" Responding, this is the first example of this kind of terrible writing with like a line that contradicts the next line. Like it's contradictive consistently, right? I mean, that you can count on from this show. So why do you always run off alone? Osha doesn't want to go and do the ascension, whatever that is, and May says that they're going to do it together. They say their stupid little rhyme, which also doesn't make any sense considering how different we're shown them both behaving if they were born as one but two or whatever the hell they're saying. And then the Zabrak mother shows up. Now, this is their mom or one of their moms, and she's Darth Maul's race. She's got the horns and the tattoos and the whole thing, right? Zabrak, whatever. She runs up and scolds him for running off and asks, if they were spotted by the Jedi. And then we get to see Soul creeping in the trees. They live in some kind of mountain sanctuary. The mothers start arguing about how the girls should be raised, and Mama says that this planet would be safe for the girls. The Zabrak mom then says it would be safe if the girls didn't run off. So again, just based on what they're telling us, we've only seen a forest and a mountain of this planet, right? And Mama tells the audience and the Zabrak that they came here because it would be safe. But the Zabrak says, no, it's not going to be safe because they leave the mountain. Like, it doesn't make any sense. There's no one else around. Anyway, next scene, we get introduced to the thread that the witch coven, this all-woman witch coven, well, all women and one transsexual, that they practice, or whatever, right? The thread, which is the Force. Now, I don't completely disagree with different religions, because if the way I always understood, the Jedi are a religion, the Sith are a religion that believe in, the dark side of the Force and the light side of the Force, respectively. There could be other religions that identify the Force with a different word. I'm not opposed to this concept. It's interesting. It's fine, right? But the thing that I did not like was when she manifests an actual thread with the Force, right? And does it with, it doesn't seem like much effort. She makes a Force line with her hands. Now, if it was so easy to do, the applications for such a thing would be endless if you could make force lines and whips, I guess, or threads, like I don't know. To me, it's not something we've ever seen done with the force before. And here it is. It's just stupid. I don't know. And then she uses the force to grab a fruit, calls it the thread, and says it's not a power that you wield, even though she just used it as a power. Like you're grabbing an object with your mind from across the room and then just easily levitating it between the two girls once you've done that. Like, that is incredible power. It's incredible. And yet in this very scene and sentence, she says, it's not a power you wield. Again, more contradictory, where they're showing us something and telling us another, saying something and doing another. It's happening all throughout this episode. Then more cringe, backwards dialogue. She talks about pulling the thread and you'll change everything. And then she says, it ties you to your destiny. So if your destiny is one thing, if you pull the thread, you can change it. So it isn't one thing. Your destiny can be changed. It doesn't make any sense. Freaking nonsense. And then we get the next cringe CW scene where she starts doing her, we get the power of one nonsense. She calls a grunt up and she does her Kamehameha force push thing towards the grunt. And she says the power of one, Meanwhile, the girls are fighting in the background, very contrived. We'll get more to that in a second. Then she calls up in a second grunt and does the power of two and does her stupid little Kamehameha force push thing. And then she says, tonight at the ceremony, you will experience the power of many. The girls are, like I said, contrived fighting in the background. May literally says, pay attention to Osha, right? While Osha says, stop distracting me. They literally say out loud what they could have shown us doing in the background. It's just such terrible writing. I hate it. Mama force pushes them to the ground then, and then says, your enemies won't warn you before they attack you, which I just don't get this. Like, if the girls are misbehaving, you attack them? That's your way of parenting? No wonder they're all screwed up. Why don't you just try to stop the fight? Separate the two. Focus on making them pay attention and not just having this whole speech about power of one, power of two, and then power of many nonsense. So then the mom tells him to block her, right? And she hits her with the CW force Kamehameha. And May blocks it while Osha hides, right? This is all very on the nose, freaking nonsense. It's just hard to watch. Osha does not know anything else from what we're shown. Like, again, I'm just going based on what we're told, that they were in exile. The coven came to this planet when they had the babies, the girls. So the girls only know this coven. They only know this planet. They only know what we've been shown that they do know, right? Yet, we have Osha saying that she doesn't want to be a witch, right? The next scene, like, how would she know what she wants to be anything else? Like, why would, like, if they're so secluded in this sanctuary from everyone else and they only interact with these people, how would they know anything else? Like, do they know anything else? They don't show us, Is there an intranet in the world of Star Wars? I don't know. Anyway, the mama sits him down, forces him to hold hands and tell each other to love each other, and that the galaxy isn't a place for special girls like them. Oh my gosh. Like, just... Anyway, the cringe ceremony begins. It's all over this, like, cliffside hole, too, which all seems very freaking evil, right? I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a nice place for children. No wonder Osha wants to leave. See, now I started to think about this also as the show is being presented. It's like, well, yeah, no shit, she wants to leave. She's only got her psycho sister there and a bunch of lesbian witches. Yeah, I'm not surprised, to be honest. So anyway, over the cliffside hole, the ceremony that they haven't done since their exile. Again, this is only what they've shown us. I don't know what context this is in. It just... who are they? Why were they exiled? For what reasons? Dark magic? Dark Jedi magic? Dark Force magic, I mean? Obviously, something along those lines, I assume. They don't seem good, right? So anyway, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. This song begins here at this ceremony, and it's the cringiest thing since the Star Wars holiday special. You know, I don't understand why this literally to me sounds like a feminist protest chant, like some kind of chant that you would see at some protest, or maybe not any protest, modern day bullshit, like interpretive dancing, and it just these up close shots of these women moaning and men, man ladies moaning and such. It's just awful. It's just awful. Anyway, the girl May, she steps up to get her purple thread tattoo on her forehead. Again, this ascension ceremony, I don't know what it is. I don't know what's happening. It doesn't make any sense. They said it's about facing your fear and giving up a part of you. How does that, what you said, translate to what we're seeing? The girl just gets hit in the face with your purple force thread and gets a tattoo, right? So then, wouldn't you know it, right? The Jedi show up attacking the temple in between the two girls' ceremony. So May gets the tattoo, Jedi show up. So, of course, Osha, she doesn't get the tattoo. It's just so freaking dumb and predictable. So, Mama says, put down your weapons and no violence. Let's remember that for a moment, right? The coven, you're using sticks, bows, and arrows. They got staves and stuff, right? Like, that's going to be effective against a Jedi. I guess with the Force, I don't know. Maybe the bows and arrows would be more effective. So the Jedi show up, and they're like, we didn't know this planet was inhabited. I guess we heard that y'all are training little children here, that the coven of bitches scream out, we don't have any children here, right? I mean, they're a bunch of chicks, so, that's Bible, right? No dudes there, right? You don't see any except for the lady dude. So then the Jedi, they're like, we can clearly see the children because, the coven of witches, they tell the two girls to hide, and their version of hiding and stopping them from being shown is just like, okay, don't do that. Stop. Oh, no. Stop there. Please don't. And then the girls are just right there. They show that the Wookiee Jedi sees them, can just see them, right? It's just hard to watch this whole thing. It's just I'm laughing the whole damn time. So then Sol goes up and he's asking if he can talk to Osha. He's blah blah blahing at her about being a Jedi, and then for some unexplained, like, it's just baffling reason, he gives her his lightsaber, which lightsabers look like shit, by the way. It doesn't. It looks like a plastic cheap prop that I don't understand. Like, you can't. Theory sabers look way better than what we're seeing on the Acolyte. I just don't get it. I don't understand. So anyway, Sol gives Osha his lightsaber for some reason, and Osha, thank God, doesn't turn it on, slice his head off, or poke her eye out or nothing, considering she's a child and this is a lethal weapon. Thank goodness none of that happened. Then, of course, Mama attacks the white male Padawan out of nowhere after she said, no violence, no weapons, put your shit away. She does some sort of mind manipulation on the with the dark side of the Force, turns his eyes all black, and he drops to his knees. Of course she does. Of course, yes. So then Trinity's like, oh, you gotta cut that out. You can't deny that I have the right to test potential Padawans, right? Only with your permission, right, gets ADR'd as the camera goes back to Mama's face. Now, I suspect that the original line was Trinity telling her, you can't deny that I have the right to test potential Padawans, and that being it. But I think they saw that and was like, it might be a little bit too much. I mean, we're really laying it on thick that the Jedi are evil. Well, let's not try to make them that evil. Let's get Trinity back in here, an ADR line saying, with your permission, of course, because, we can't have them being that evil. Having them be contradictory and stupid, though, that's okay. Saying one thing and saying the complete nonsense right behind it, perfectly fine. So anyway, we get to the next scene. They talk. Oh, they agree. We'll test the girl. We'll let you test the girls tomorrow. We'll come into your camp or whatever. So then, in the next scene, the Coven is deciding whether or not they're gonna kill the Jedi, right? And the Zabrak, she's really upset and screaming out. And we find out that the Zabrak carried the children and that Mama created them with the Force. Now, to me, that's the dark side of the Force. I don't care what the books said, what the comic books have done, especially any of the Disney Star Wars comic books and whatever books. I don't care, right? I'm going based on the 6 movies that we've, from George Lucas. And it was implied in that opera scene that that he could, Plagueis had the potential to create life. But it was never directly said that Anakin was made by Plagueis. I don't care what the books and comic books say. I don't care. I'm just talking about the movies. That's never a thing. All we know in episode 1 is that she just carried him. That Shmi just carried him. And they believe that he was made from the Force, meaning that he's the prophesized one that was made from the Force, born to bring balance to the Force. And then eventually we find out that it was just to stop the Sith. And, George Lucas was making it up as he went. That's okay. It's all right. But I believe that making a child with the dark side of the Force, that's evil, right? I mean, I feel like that's a perversion of the Force, right? Dark side of the Force stuff, and like the Force Jesus that was Anakin Skywalker and what these girls are, that's a completely different thing, And I don't care again if it's implied that Plagueis made him or whatever, or that even Palpatine made him. I don't care. I don't think that is what happened. I believe what we were shown in the movies, right? Moving on. The Zabrak won't lose the girls to a bunch of deranged monks, which is what the writers want us to think of the Jedi. That's what they think of the Jedi. That's what they want us to think of the Jedi as well, right? Also, because the Zabrak just carried the children, she does not have a say in the matter. Osha asks in the next scene how to fail, right? Yeah, I'm just, let's get through this. Osha in the next scene, right? Moving on. She's asking how to fail. Her mama says, whatever's in your heart, you must say the opposite. I mean, this shit is evil as hell, right? She's telling her daughter that she needs to lie. Whatever you feel is right, you must do the opposite. I mean, this is corrupt morality, awful, horrible examples, and I can't believe that they actually would want us to side with the Coven, and feel sympathy in any way for these women. I don't get it. I don't know what they're thinking. Obviously evil, May says that if they take you, I will stop them. Again, obviously evil, This isn't... May says the Jedi are bad. Osha says the Jedi are good. This is where we get the line. This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it. Which, again, how are we supposed to side with these women? I just don't get it. No. There is good and evil in the world. This makes no sense. So anyway, we get to the Jedi ship, and Osha does not want to lie, but May says she has to. And again, then we get horrible acting from these little girls all in this episode, and the way that they're interacting in these scenes, it's like literally on the nose. You know, the subtlety of a baboon. It's just terrible. I hate it. And the fact that they're trying to drive this, morality of lying is good. In some instances, you need to lie, which is just fucking wrong, right? She is wrong. Osha just wanted to tell the truth. We get a scene with her and the Jedi and her failing, and I like the actor who's playing Master Soul, and the parts that he's in, I don't mind. I mean, that last scene with him handing the lightsaber to her made no sense, but again, you can't fault the actor and his performance. I like him. He's likable. He learned English for this, and it just the emotion he's conveying is sincere. I like it. Anyway, we get back to Mama. And Osha saying, I just wanted to tell the truth. But Mama responds with her that it's just not that simple. But she is wrong. Mama is wrong. It is just that simple. Tell the damn truth. That's it, Osha wants to be her own person. And, we get this scene between the two of them where she's asking, if I become a Jedi, would I ever see you again? Which I don't understand why she wouldn't. It doesn't make any sense why she wouldn't see her again. Mama tells her, wouldn't they come back? She could come back eventually after she's mastered all this. Unless something horrible will happen if she leaves. Obviously, right? So anyway, Mama tells her it's her decision. Osha says that she wants to be a Jedi. Mama then hugs her and cries and says, well, it's your decision, but we'll take it into consideration, and I'll discuss it with the rest of the coven. What? So how is it her decision? What are you talking about? This makes no sense. The next scene has Osha packing her bags for some reason. Didn't we just see that we aren't sure if you're going to go or not? What? She's packing her bags, and May shows up, and May's like, I'm not going to let you leave, right? And Osha's like, well, how are you going to stop me? And she's like, you can't go. I won't let you leave. I will kill you. What? Again, laughably, obviously evil. And how is that stopping her from... Then she would be gone. She'd be permanently gone then. Permanently gone if you kill her. Are you just stupid? That's it. You just... The writers are just so fucking stupid. Oh, God. Anyway, May sets fire to a sketchbook of Osha's, and in the hallway, she locks her in the room, sets fire to the sketchbook. The sketchbook catches fire and catches the entire stone and metal structure on fire. Stone and metal burning. And it goes up like that, too. Anyway, for some reason, there's windows that I can't tell if there was actually glass in the windows, but they're huge. She could have crawled right out of them. You can't make it out, though, if there's actually glass. I don't know. But either way, in this future, I guess the windows don't open. I guess there's no fire safety precautions in this hyperspace traveling future, with lightsabers and such. What? Anyway, I guess unless this sanctuary was built by the women, then maybe. I don't know, maybe. Then again, there's a porthole that she uses her sonic screwdriver on to open a panel and hot wire a little circular hatch, right? Crawls through the hatch, crawls through some more contrived bullshit nonsense. Whole place is coming down. The stone and metal structure's on fire. So then, Through contrivance, the two girls end up on two broken catwalks facing each other, right? What the fuck? It's just silly. Shit's blowing up, explosions everywhere, all around them. Also, Soul's there. Master Soul comes running in, and the girls have a great exchange of dialogue. What did you do? What did you do? No, what did you do? Did they get the Rings of Power Riders in to consult or something? What happened? What is happening? So, Soul comes running in as everything's exploding. The two girls are on the catwalk. May falls to her certain death, obviously, right? Big fiery chasm below. And Soul manages to save Osha by hand. Not with the Force. He runs after her, leaps and grabs her by her hand and pulls her up, right? And they're on the ship. And Osha wakes up and she's like, what happened? I somehow forgot everything that happened, even though I was there. Tell me what happened. Oh, everyone's dead. Also, we can't go back for some reason. There's no going back. The fire, once everything settles, there's nothing left there for you, It's absurd. Why couldn't they go back? Like, what? And obviously, maybe somebody survived. You guys just ran out of there and abandoned the whole thing. Forget about it. Moving past it, right? Then we get the last scene with May. Oh, surprise, May's alive. Somehow she survived falling into the fiery chasm below. And we get May over here at the tree that we were at the beginning of the episode. And then we're done. And this was painful. I had to watch it twice. Because the first time I watched it, I'm like, I couldn't even... It was such a rapid fire nonsense. I couldn't make sense of what happened. I had to take notes. My goodness, my typing's improved exponentially. I can type like crazy now because of all the notes. I had to keep pausing it. And, oh my goodness. No more. I really don't want to watch anymore, but I will, because I want to see this train wreck. I want to see it unfold, right? It's fun. This complete butchery of something I used to be a big fan of, And I think, for me, I still have episodes 1 through 6. And I checked out after Mando Season 2. I didn't watch Obi-Wan and Boba Fett. Boba Fett was just, oh my God, it was terrible. Obi-Wan... I'm actually pretty mad about that one, to be honest, and that's why I didn't watch it, because I knew it was a butcher of one of the characters that I loved, growing up, So, to see this, to have them go back and make things worse for the original trilogy in terms of, what Anakin meant to everything and, the perversion of the Force, unless it, unless they go that angle, and that is what they are talking about, that, what she did was the dark side. But again, these writers, we won't see that. They want it to be gray. That wasn't evil. Come on, it was all right. You gotta lie sometimes. That's all right. God awful, terrible, and can't wait to see the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.